Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Don't forget to leave a like, as it does help out the channel, helps out the algorithm, and it's also free to do. This feels like something that's been a long time coming. And I mean, so I have this channel, Money Rules, and I have another channel called The Modern Investor. This has been a continual topic, and you might have even realized in the last 2 years, it's ramped up quite a bit. The issue is, and I'll try and say this as nice as humanly possible. The issue is, Bitcoin was created for everyone. I think we can agree on that. That's literally the point of what Bitcoin is for. For the world, it's for the masses. As long as I've been in the cryptocurrency space, I've had nothing but criticism thrown my way. That's criticism from people in the space and far outside of the space. I've told you over the years, if people find out that I'm into crypto at all, a lot of times these people also pay attention to the charts. I think it's a bit of jealousy and they also want to be in the market, but they're not brave enough to do so. At some point, if prices fall down, I've had people, I told you, literally come up to me, friends or acquaintances, and they'll go like, how's that Bitcoin doing? I saw it drop by 10%, and kind of like they pretend to have a conversation with you, but they're just being ridiculous is the nicest word. But then you even have people within the cryptocurrency space. People outside, I can understand them being ignorant. If you are stupid, you're probably not going to enter this market. If you have any kind of brain, if you understand the basics of the world at large, economics, and you've seen things and how they've been going on, you heard about Bitcoin, you learned about Bitcoin, you get into the space, crypto, bam, surprise. A lot of people within crypto are skeptical as well. You'll see exactly where I promise you'll see exactly where I'm going with this. Every day, not some of the days, every day there's gigantic, crazy, monumental, insane Bitcoin news. We hear that BlackRock is getting into the space. They told their wealthiest clients to allocate millions of dollars from their portfolio into Bitcoin. Fidelity gets into the space. These other companies are buying hundreds, thousands, and hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin at any given time. We started getting price predictions years ago. Bitcoin's going to $2,000. Bitcoin's going to $5,000. Mike Novogratz became popular because he said Bitcoin's going to $10,000. People inside the space, Bitcoin can't hit that. Its market cap would have to be too high. We hit 10,000, people go, we're going to a $50,000 Bitcoin. Bitcoin can't go to 50,000. Its market cap would have to be over $1 trillion. It just doesn't make any sense. Bam, we hit $1 trillion. People keep buying up more Bitcoin. There's less Bitcoin in the market. The whales continue to buy. There's whale buying news every single day. Every time that there's outflows from the ETFs, there's inflows into whale wallets. There are certain Bitcoin wallets that have never sold. Never. They've only accumulated over the course of anywhere from the last 9 to the last 14 years. Still, people are skeptical. One of the main things, one of the points of this channel in particular, is to let you know kind of the inner workings of the cryptocurrency space. If crazy stuff is happening, I bring it to you. If I feel like you have to know about it, I bring it to you. If we hear that the wealthiest people on the planet are foregoing investing in the US dollar, in bonds, in stocks, and they're choosing to allocate their money to Bitcoin, I tell you about it. We had news like this for years. And the craziest, what I thought would kind of be the crescendo, like breaking everyone definitely jumps on board. A couple of months ago, the Basel Banking Committee and the Bank of International Settlements came forward because they asked, I think, 27 of the world's largest central banks. And they said, hey, you guys got any crypto? And only 19 of the banks responded. The other ones were like, I'm not telling you jack diddly squat. 19 world banks admitted that they hold millions, hundreds of millions, or have allocations into billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. That's both spot and ETF. Upon hearing this news, I remember asking the question for people to tell me in the comment section. I said, what is stopping you from buying Bitcoin? What exactly? In the olden days, in 2015, 2016, if you didn't believe, you didn't understand, you were fooled by a couple millionaires and billionaires who also then subsequently got into the space, it's understandable. It was brand new. If you've been watching me for a couple of years and for some reason your mind can't conceptualize having Bitcoin in your portfolio, but you hold Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, Pepe Coin, you name it, why are you not holding Bitcoin? And I got tons of responses. Bitcoin is too slow. Bitcoin is this. Bitcoin is blah, blah, blah. I don't understand how you can follow this channel, how we can have news daily, because this is a daily news channel, the same as the other channel, daily. And you can still be lightly skeptical about anything. When you talk about the amount of Bitcoin that rich people have been accumulating, like I said, the last 2 years were like a big ramp up. In some sort of way, this energy became really, really intense. And I was telling everyone, I was like, something's off. There's too much buying of Bitcoin, even as prices were down. We always get prices are low. We're in the bear market. People are buying behind the scenes. We may get like one good news story every couple of months, but there's always some kind of buying news that's somewhere in the space. When we hear that these companies, I'm trying to like make sure that I give you everything, because I want you to understand why this happened and why it's going to continue happening. A company by the name of BitInfo. There are a number of on-chain analytics companies. They go through the chains, they go through the numbers, they figure out who's buying what, who shifted money where, that kind of thing. On BitInfo charts, the data is showing that of all the Bitcoin wallets that exist, 1.8%, less than 2% of all these Bitcoin wallet addresses are holding 90% of the Bitcoin supply. 90%, 90% of Bitcoin is held by 1.8% of wallet addresses. A number of years ago, this used to also be a major topic in 2017, 2018, and people would go, Bitcoin centralized. Why do they have so many coins? And over the years, we actually saw these coins flowing out of a lot of like major addresses. And they were, at least I hoped, were flowing back into the pockets and the wallets of like everyday normal people. The idea is hear me out here. The idea is that Bitcoin is made for everyone. But if everyone's not paying attention, who's going to pay attention? It's rich people. Rich people already own all the assets on the planet. The last 2 years, I don't think I've never ranted more in my entire life. And I kept on saying, we are going to live in a world where Bitcoin is impossible for the everyday person to actually have. That was met with skepticism. What are you talking about? There will always be some kind of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges, and I say you're not paying attention. The average person right now is able to get around 1 million Satoshis for around $600. In the future, this number will be around 15,000 Satoshis. There's a huge difference between 15,000 sats and 1 million Satoshis. If we are in 2024 at the time of me making this video, and out of all the Bitcoin addresses, 1.86 are holding and controlling 90% of Bitcoin supply, I ask the question, what happens to their wealth when Bitcoin goes to 100K? How rich are these people when Bitcoin hits $500,000 per coin? We recently had, an absolute avalanche of cryptocurrency professors and analysts and yada, 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 discussing where Bitcoin's price is going to be in the next decade to 2 to 3 decades. A lot of them stopped at around the year 2045 to 2050. Their idea was that in the next couple of years, Bitcoin's probably going to hit $1 million per coin. That by the time we get to the 2030s, 2040s, we're probably going to see a $7 to $10 million Bitcoin at some point. One of the most bullish cases was by 2045, 2050, I believe it was a $23 or $24 million Bitcoin. I said before on this channel, and I meant it. If we get to these numbers in the future, don't complain. Don't get upset. Don't get angry. I've dedicated a large, and I mean it's true, I've dedicated a large portion of my life to these channels, to these two channels. The other one I've been doing for almost 9 years now. It's literally almost a decade of daily cryptocurrency news, with 99% of it being about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is usually the main thing that's in the news. The crazy part is that even during this video, there's still someone who's skeptical. I don't know how to put it into words. I told you this would happen years ago. Not only the mass accumulation by whales and rich people, but I have this vision, I know it sounds crazy, of the world in the future. The rich are thriving. Like, they're not doing well. They're doing better than you could even begin to imagine right now. It's because they have all the assets. I think Bitcoin was kind of the final frontier of a new asset class that was made for the everyday man, that everyone could have gotten into. We're seeing, even though the stocks are all over the place, there's still a hyper consolidation of stocks for wealthy families, even as prices drop. They want these stocks because they know eventually they will go back up. We're seeing a consolidation of land by rich people buying the richest land on the planet, buying entire countries and cities. Look it up. They're buying water. They're buying lakes around the world. Look it up. Bitcoin and crypto for me were kind of this thing where I was like, we're at the head of the curve. We can front run this entire thing. We can make sure that the everyday person has enough crypto, has enough Bitcoin, so that when Bitcoin goes to $1 million, $7, $14, $28, $9.5 million, the everyday person has fragments of a Bitcoin and they and their family are rich. I think that's no longer possible. That's not a joke. I'm telling you this as honestly as I possibly can. 1.8% of wallets are holding 90% of Bitcoin. In their data, they said the craziest part about all of this, the 90% represent around 1 million wallets. You hear the news and you go, cool, that's 1 million people. That's 1 million people who have all these coins. And then you realize very quick, people don't put all their coins into one basket. Rich people tend to separate their assets into multiple different places as a just in case. As I told you before, I like Ledger because I refuse to have all my money in one spot, on one exchange, on one this. I have it in multiple different places as a just in case. The problem is that these 1 million wallets are probably belonging to 500,000 people, potentially 250,000 people, and it might just be 100,000 people on the planet. They're more optimistic, and BitInfo said, here's the optimism. Of those 1 million wallets, this is in a world of 8 billion people. If Bitcoin were evenly divided amongst everyone on the planet, everyone would be able to have a maximum of 300,000 Satoshis. Maximum, if it were evenly divided. There are companies that have 200,000 Bitcoin. There are brothers in the space that probably have over 300, 400,000 Bitcoin. There are ETFs holding coins for the richest people on the planet, over 1 million Bitcoin. We're witnessing the shift that I spoke about 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, and 3 months ago, where the rich people are going to hold all the Bitcoin. You don't understand wealth consolidation. It's because we have lived in a world of relative abundance. You go to the supermarket, you see that some stuff isn't there. You go back a day later, it's back. You go to the car lot, you don't see the car that you want. A month and a half later, the car's there. There's always something new. The idea of digital scarcity is something that the world is going to have to grapple with because it's something that we're currently dealing with. In about a year, 2.5 years, we are going to see that 90% of the entire Bitcoin supply move to around 92 or 93%. They are going to hold all the Bitcoin and they won't let it go. We've had things before where they would, these surveys and yada, yada, yada. The average millionaire and billionaire has no intention of ever selling their Bitcoin, and or they don't plan on using it until Bitcoin's in the millions of dollars, so that they only have to sell fragments of their Bitcoin, so that they keep their 350 Bitcoin and their 10,000 and 200,000 Bitcoin that they have, so that they remain the wealthiest people on the planet. Wealth is what you have that you don't spend, that you hold on to, and that you also pass down to the next generation. We are witnessing the wealth transfer. And the skepticism within the cryptocurrency space is going to cause tens of hundreds of millions of people to have, those moments where you sit there and you go, of course I should have gotten that. Oh my gosh, of course I knew the price was going to go up. People aren't prepared to see a $60,000, $70,000 Bitcoin go to $345,000, to go to $700,000. I told you, when Bitcoin hits the price of a house, it's going to become a literal hot commodity. This thing that I bought is worth more than a home. 3 years go by, that housing price did not keep up with that. The house did well, but it's not doing as well as Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes to $1.5 million. You are going to have a lot of friends and family members who are going to be really depressed because they'll realize what that money would have meant to them and their family. The difference that it would have made for you and your friends and your family generationally. 90% of the Bitcoin supply is held by them. That number is only going to increase. I almost look forward because I don't even want a fire to be lit under you. I want like a volcano to constantly be under you so that you're like, I need to make sure that I'm doing something. I'm a gigantic advocate of buying assets and holding them. It's one of the forefronts of my investment strategy. I want to pass on an almost egregious amount of assets to my kids. You're not getting it. I want to make sure that I make a literal legacy. I grew up broke and poor, and I've gotten this far, so I know that the sky's the limit. I want to make sure that the next generation is so well off that people are jealous of them, like that kind of level. And all it takes is diligence, putting money into a market and holding on to these assets, because this is exactly what the rich are doing. And they've been doing it for a long time. And it's very significant. And I hope that if you're following this channel that you're on board already, you've jumped on board, you're paying attention to something that's going on, because it's getting crazier and crazier. When you hear the amount that these companies are telling people to allocate from their portfolios into Bitcoin, and people still don't pay attention. Once again, if you're outside of the market, you're outside of the market. It's not that I don't care. It's just more of a, I can't convince you to drink from the well. But if you are part of the community that built the well, you know what water tastes like. You had a sip and you went, I'm going to go get some soda. I can't. I can only do so much. 1 million wallet addresses out of 8 billion people. This is a form of wealth consolidation and a wealth transfer that we will probably never see again. There's not going to be another asset class created. All the asset classes that we have now have been around for hundreds, if not 1,000 years. I'm doing a soft 1,000 years. The fact that someone created a brand new asset class and people don't pay attention to it, it's crazy. Bitcoin's only been around for 15 years. It's $1 trillion asset. So, hope you got something from this. Hope you left a like on the video. I hope you've all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting and preparing. And I do hope to talk to you all soon. See you.